Frida Kahlo was born July 6, 1907 in Mexico City, Mexico. Her mother was of Mexican heritage and her father was of German descent. Frida Kahlo experienced a painful life from a young age. She went through many ailments, but in 1925 she was in a bad car accident that left her with permanent pain and bedridden for months. Being bedridden helped Frida find her love for painting. It was a way for her to express the life experiences she had. Frida Kahlo never painted her dreams. She always painted her own reality. In the piece displayed, called The Two Fridas, you can see a double self-portrait of herself. It's said to reflect her German and Mexican heritage. In one side, you can see her in a traditional white European Victorian dress, and the other she's in a traditional Mexican dress. What's interesting about this painting is it not only reflects her double heritage, it reflects the stormy relationship she had with her husband Diego, who she divorced in 1939, the time she made this painting. Historians have said that the Mexican image in the painting was the Frida that Diego loved, and the European was the one that he did not. The Two Fridas was made in 1939 using oil on canvas. The size dimensions are 5 feet 8.5 inches by 5 feet 8.5 inches. It resides in Mexico City at the Museo de Arte Moderno in the Instituto Nacional de Bella Arte. When you look closely at the painting, you can see that the two Fridas are joined at the hands. They have an artery running through them both that begins at a miniature portrait of Rivera as a small boy held by Mexican Frida. The artery then runs through both of the exposed hearts and ends in the European Frida's lap. In the end of the artery that's ending in the European Frida's lap, you can see that it is held by small forceps. When I first saw this painting, I was unsure of why she was holding forceps, but the more research I did, I found out that the forceps were said to represent the mass amount of surgeries that Frida had to endure and the pain that she felt. When I look at this painting in a whole, I really can see the pain that Frida Kahlo felt. When you look at the two Fridas inside of this picture, it seems like she's holding hands with herself, maybe to rely on her own self. In the history of the time of this painting, she was going through a divorce and maybe she did feel lonely. It could have been something that she felt throughout her life because of the pain she had to endure, and that's something that only she could have felt. The exposed heart, I think, is supposed to represent the way that she was showing all of her feelings in all of her works. When you look closely at this portrait, you can see both Fridas holding small trinkets inside of their hands. On the one side, you can see the Mexican Frida with the brown skirt and the blue blouse holding a small circular trinket. That is said to be a small portrait of Diego Rivera as a small boy. On the other side, the Frida in the white dress, the European side, she's holding forceps that are clamping down on the artery that's bleeding inside of her lap. I think the reason that this is showing is because it said that the Mexican side is the side that loved Diego and the side that Diego loved this Frida. So she's holding something that's close to her heart, something that she loves. On the other side, I think it was when she was more by herself, and that's something that she was going through and she was experiencing. She was constantly going through bleeding and pain and just exposed everything. When you look at both of the Fridas, both have two exposed hearts, but they're a little bit different. On the Mexican side, the heart is closed and you can't really see the internal chambers, but on the other side in the white dress, you can see the chambers inside of the heart. I think the reason why it's displayed in this way is because the European Frida, she didn't have anybody around. She was going through pain, she was going through surgery, she was by herself, and so her heart was open and it had a void. I think when you go to the right side and you see the Mexican Frida, the heart is closed off, it's not open, it's not being shown. This is the side that said that Diego loved, so I think maybe this was something that completed her heart in a sense. But it can also have a double meaning. It could also mean that the side that Diego loved maybe closed off her heart because this was around the time that they got divorced, and the European side was when her heart was more open because she didn't have Diego at that time. I think Frida Kahlo's art pieces helped people see the different types of pain that everybody feels. People may not have expressed themselves in such a way that she did, which was a lot more graphic and a lot more visual, but it was something that people needed. People appreciated the fact that her art was very raw and it was very in tune with herself. She displayed a lot of her emotions in each of her paintings, and this painting really goes to show how exposed she wanted to feel inside of her own artwork. The background itself, when you look at it, it's cloudy, it's stormy, it's not bright and sunny. It's showing the pain that she went through, and it really is digging deep inside of her own self, and it's something that other people were able to see. All in all, I think Frida Kahlo was a very expressive artist. There's not a lot of artists who really do try to show their emotions as raw as she did. It seemed like she really didn't care how people saw her or how gory or gruesome her paintings could be. She just wanted to express the experiences she went through in her own life, and that's something that shows that she was a very strong person, and she really could go through anything, and all she wanted to do was just express herself, and it was through magical works like the Two Fridas shown.